So, in this module, we are going to tackle the single most difficult question in job hunting. And that's a question that makes even experienced professionals freeze up. All right. And that question is, what can you do? So, most people answer this question by looking backward, right? They say, well, I was a cashier, or I was a teacher, or I drove a truck. But that isn't who you are, that is just what you did. And today we are going to change that. So we're going to change your perspective. We are going to stop looking at your history as a list of job titles and start looking at it as a toolbox of skills. All right. And this is called competence mapping. All right. And why this is important is because tomorrow on day 2, when we build your CV, we are not going to write a biography. Okay. We are going to write well, I don't know if I like this word either, but I will say it anyway. So we're going to write a kind of a marketing brochure for you, okay? And to market a product, which is you need to know exactly what features you're selling, right? So by the end of this training, you will understand the 3 pillars of your competence, okay? And those are, well, the first one would be the substance, so hard skills, okay? And then the second would be the transferable skills, okay? So soft skills, so to say. And then the third one would be motivation, all right? So let's start with the easiest part, the hard skills. These are the things you have learned, studied, or measured in some way. And these are usually very easy to prove. So if I ask you, do you speak English? The answer is yes or no. If I ask you, can you drive a truck? You either have the license or you don't, right? So when you fill out the assignment, when you fill out the form, when you start, filling out the assignment form after this video, I want you to dig deep here. Don't just list your degree. Think about the tools. For example, let's say, well, did you use Microsoft Teams in your last job? Then write it down. Did you use a specific cash register system? Write it down. Do you have a hygiene pass or an occupational safety card? Write that down as well. Okay? So you have to understand that, for example, let's take another example. If someone was a secretary, okay? But then they would use Microsoft 365, the whole Microsoft suite. Then, their skill would be the Microsoft 365 expert, right? So secretary is not their skill, but the system that they can use, that is the skill in which they are the expert. And modern recruiting uses artificial intelligence. So, for example, the job market, Finland's job market. So we're going to go through all of these, but you can find the job market from työmarkkinatori.fi. We're going to get back to this, so you don't need to write anything down now. But the AI, because they are using AI to scan all the profiles that we put up there, and we're going to put yours up there as well. So the AI doesn't care much about your title. It scans for keywords. If you know how to use Zoom or Photoshop, but you don't list it because you think it's obvious, then, your profile, it'll just get buried, okay? So as you start, doing the assignments for this day 1, then you should be able to list your education and probably any licenses that you have and languages that you can speak and every piece of software or machinery you know how to handle, all right? And then if we move on to the next part, or, to the next layer, then it would be transferable skills, so soft skills. And this is pretty critical because this is where most people struggle, but this is also where you get hired. We call these transferable skills. Sometimes these are called soft skills, but I like transferable skills because I think that is more, it's more describing, if I can say that. So they are skills you carry with you from one job to another, regardless of the industry. So let me give you another example. Imagine you worked as a waiter in a busy lunch restaurant. You might think, I just carried plates, but that's wrong. Now let's break down what you actually did. So you handled 20 customers at once. That is prioritization and stress tolerance, right? You dealt with angry customers whose soup was cold and whatnot. So that would then be called conflict resolution and negotiation. I think you're starting to get the gist of what I'm trying to say here, right? And then there might be some new hires, and you taught them how the menu works and how everything works within the restaurant, right? So that is onboarding and training, okay? And and if you apply for a job as an office assistant, so let's say you want to change careers, then there obviously as an office assistant you won't be carrying plates, but you have to be able to handle stress, right? So that is probably one thing that you will be doing. And then also another thing that we could imagine is that you should be able to solve conflicts. Okay, you need to be also able to prioritize tasks, right? So this is what I call, like, this is when you are transferring your skills from a restaurant work to the office work. Okay, so now you understand what you have, probably have a better understanding of what I mean by transferable skills. So think about a difficult day in your last job or studies that you did, and really think about what problems did you solve. Did you calm someone down? Did you organize a messy shelf? Did you fix a broken machine? So let's keep it very simple, right? So don't make this too hard. Don't try to overcomplicate this, okay? Because that action you took, that is your skill. So just to give you some more examples, if you are precise, you are systematic, all right? If you learn fast, then you have adaptability, all right? If you talk well, then you have communication skills, right? Probably you are starting to understand what I'm trying to say here, right? And then finally, we hit the motivation, okay? So the third part, so to say, and that would be motivation. So you can be great at Excel. That would be, for example, one of the hard skills. And you can be great at working under pressure. That would be a transferable skill. But if you hate numbers, you will burn out in a week. You won't have any motivation, right? And just to clarify for you, I don't think you should ever wait for motivation. That comes after you take action, right? But know this, that employers hire for attitude and train for skill, okay? They want to know what makes you tick, what makes you excel, okay? What keeps you motivated, and what makes you lose track of time. Do you love helping people? Do you love fixing things? Do you love analyzing data? So identifying your interests helps us steer your career to the right direction. And if you are applying for a career change, this is crucial, right? Well, even in job search as well, it's crucial, right? We need to know where you want to go, not just where you have been. And that's why you are in this training. So now you know what are the Sebastian's 3 pillars of competence. So that is substance, meaning the hard skills, transferable skills, meaning if you can take on pressure, and those I call like soft skills, and then of course motivation, so what makes you tick. Now that you understand completely the pillars of competence, you're ready to move on to the part 1.2. All right, so we will continue discussion there. See you soon.